Do me a favor. Look at your phone right now. Look at the very top of the screen. You see that little icon? The jagged, geometric shape inside the blue oval. You use it every single day. You tap it to connect your headphones, your car stereo, your smartwatch. You know it's called Bluetooth. But have you ever stopped to ask, why? Think about it. Bluetooth. It sounds like a dental emergency. It doesn't sound like high-tech wizardry. It doesn't sound like Wi-Fi or 5G. Here is the secret nobody told you. That technology in your pocket isn't named after a microchip. It isn't an acronym. It's named after a Viking king from the 10th century. And that little symbol, it's not just a jagged B. It is a secret message written in 1,000-year-old runes that you carry around in your pocket every single day. Today, we're decoding the Viking secret inside your phone. To understand how a Viking warlord ended up on your dashboard, we have to rewind. But not to the Middle Ages just yet. We need to go back to the dark ages of technology. The year is 1996. If you wanted to connect two devices, like your computer and a printer, or your phone and a headset, you needed wires, cables, a lot of them. It was a tangled nightmare. The biggest tech giants in the world, Intel, Ericsson, and Nokia, were all racing to solve this. They wanted to build a single, short-range radio technology to cut the cords forever. But here was the problem. These companies were rivals. They were competitors. They needed to work together to create a universal standard, but they didn't trust each other. They needed something to unite them. And that is where a history-loving engineer walked into a bar. Meet Jim Kardak from Intel and Sven Mattisson from Ericsson. It's the summer of 1997. They are in Toronto, having a drink. They are supposed to be talking about radio frequencies and power consumption. But they're nerds, and the conversation drifts. Sven had just finished reading a book called The Long Ships by Franz G. Bengtsson. It's a classic adventure novel about Vikings. He starts telling Jim about the history of Scandinavia.
They start talking about a specific king, Harald Gormsson. King Harald was famous for one major achievement. In the 10th century, Scandinavia was a mess of warring tribes and clans. Everyone was fighting everyone. But Harald changed that. He united Denmark and Norway. He brought distinct, fighting groups together under one banner. Jim Kardak went home and did some reading. He realized the parallel was perfect. King Harald united Scandinavia. This new technology was intended to unite the PC and cellular industries. It was a perfect metaphor. So, Jim proposed a code name for the project. He called it Bluetooth. Now, you're probably wondering, why was the king called Bluetooth? Historians have a few theories. The most popular one is that King Harald had a dead tooth, a tooth that had turned a dark, blue-gray color. Hence, Harald Bluetooth. Others think blatant, the Danish word, might have been, or someone with dark complexion. But the dead tooth story is the one that stuck. So Jim Kardak pitches this name, Bluetooth. But here is the funny part. It was never meant to be the final name. It was just a code name, a placeholder. The marketing departments at Intel and Ericsson hated it. They wanted something futuristic, something techy. They proposed two official names. One was Radio Wire. The other was PAN, Personal Area Network. Bluetooth was supposed to die as soon as the technology launched. It's launch time. The marketing teams are ready to go with Radio Wire. But then, disaster strikes. They do a trademark search. Radio Wire is too generic. They can't trademark it. The search comes back clear. You can't own this name. Okay, panic mode. Let's go with the backup. PAN. They do a search on PAN. It turns out, there are tens of thousands of hits for PAN across the internet. It's a common word. No SEO value. Nobody would ever find it. They had weeks until launch. The brochures were being printed. The press releases were being written. They had no official name. So, the engineers looked at the marketers and said, "We have to use the code name." The marketers were horrified. They thought it was weird, but they had no choice. The technology launched as Bluetooth. And to everyone's surprise, people loved it. It was unique. It was memorable. So the name stuck. But what about that logo? This is the part you can show off to your friends. The Bluetooth logo is what's called a bind rune. It's from the younger Futhark alphabet, used by Vikings in the 10th century. Take a look. First, you have this rune. It looks like an asterisk or a star. This is Hagal. It represents the letter H.